Hi there, my name's Bev Heim-Myers. I'm the chair of the Canadian Coalition for Genetic Fairness. I'm also the CEO of the Huntington Society of Canada. I'm going to try to economize on my presentation as much as I can. So the first couple of slides talk about the stories of genetic discrimination. I don't think I have to go through those because in that absolutely amazing documentary that you saw, you heard about genetic discrimination, where she talked about, one of the young women in the documentary talked about her friends who had tested positive to the BRCA1 and 2, who were denied life insurance. That's an example. There's the research, too, that speaks to us, especially research with Huntington disease, where 86% of individuals worry about genetic discrimination. Of those individuals, 63% are concerned for their families. So that their behavior changes when you're concerned about genetic discrimination based on your genetic tests, because what that does to the rest of the family and your children. 50% of people in the Huntington group have experienced genetic discrimination, and the concern, again, modifies people's behavior. So where they could get tested for prevention, treatment, and specific treatment, they don't because of fear. Genetic discrimination occurs when people are treated unfairly due to actual or perceived differences in their genetic information that may cause or increase a risk for the development of a disorder or disease. The perceived is important. Not everybody will get the disease. It's a perception of a future disease that you may get. Many diseases are multifactorial. Who knows who's going to get what? That information does not belong in the hands of insurers or employers. Many face discrimination based on a predisposition or a familial potential for a genetic disease until they can actually prove to an insurance company that they do not have a mutation in their genome. Anybody in here have perfect genes? No, none of us do. That's why countries like the United States have enacted GINA, the United Kingdom, European Union, Australia, and Israel all have genetic fairness laws. They all protect genetic information. Canada is the only G7 country that does not protect genetic information. Canadian law permits insurers to actually require health information, including genetic test information, and to use it against individuals. Science and technology has outperformed legislation. It is time that we protect this information. Privacy legislation is not enough, nor is it clear. 10 years ago, there was 100 genetic tests. Now there are several thousand. In Canada, we cannot discriminate against race, gender, disability, but we can discriminate against our own personal DNA. All Canadians are affected. Being denied insurance and employment on the basis of one's genetic traits has serious consequences for individuals, for families, and for society as a whole. People don't move forward to get genetic testing that could help identify, diagnose, prevent, and treat diseases specifically for them with individualized or personalized medicine. People don't participate in clinical trials because they're afraid of the genetic testing and what it might say about themselves and their families. We want clinical trials to happen in Canada. We want clinical trials to happen in Canada so it's closer to Canadian citizens and we can get treatments to market much faster. But people are afraid to participate. Personalized medicine, you've heard about this before. Personalized medicine, depending on somebody's biological makeup, is important moving forward. Science has just come leaps and bounds in this area. It's time that we continued that, and it's time that people moved forward and had genetic testing without the barrier of fear of how that could be used against them. Genetic discrimination is real in Canada, and the issue continues to grow. Practices are inconsistent with what is actually happening. 91% of individuals in Canada do not think that insurance companies should have access to their genetic information. They do. Current legislation does not address the concept of a future disability. Rather, it offers a remedy after the discrimination has happened. But individuals have to prove that that discrimination has happened, which puts the economic onus and the emotional onus on the individual. We need action now. We need our Canadian, federal, and provincial governments to develop and implement an effective strategy to eliminate genetic discrimination in Canada. We have had achievements to date. We have a coalition for genetic fairness. It is an 18-member coalition. In the speech from the throne in 2013, the government committed to ending genetic discrimination by insurers and employers based on genetic test information. That has not come to fruition yet. The Office of the Privacy Commissioner urged life and health insurance industry to refrain from requesting genetic information. Bill S-201 has just gone through the Senate. It was presented by Senator Cowan, an absolutely amazing individual. It was debated, and clause by clause debate. It was gutted by the Conservative senators, and moving forward, we are hoping that that will be overturned and that it'll go forward in its original state. I've also worked with Ontario and Alberta. So next steps. Continue to educate federal members of parliament, members of provincial parliaments, support Bill S-201 if it goes to the third reading, continue to follow the Prime Minister's office. They now have a government bill in answer to their commitment in the speech from the throne, but that's sitting in cabinet and it hasn't moved forward. Engage all Canadians. We're all at risk. We all have about 30 mutations in our genome. None of us in this room are insurable. Encourage positive engagement with the insurance industry. That hasn't happened yet. In all the other G7 countries, the insurance industry stood beside them. They're not standing beside us. We will win. Thank you very much for your time.